Central Ghetto.
Hi everybody, welcome to this week's Ghetto vlog. And as you can see, I'm already out and about. I'm making a real early start on the vlog this week. I've got a manic week, so much I've got to get done. But we're making a start with the locals. I'm going to hit up the charity shops. I'm going to go to CEX. I've got a few things I want to trade in, including Street Fighter 5. I checked this morning, there's still £30 trading on it. The game owes me nothing. Realistically, it's just going down in value. And I ain't got the time to get good at it right now. There's a lot of other games I want to play ahead of it, so it's just depreciating in value. I don't collect PlayStation 5 games as such, excuse the wind. Weather's took a turn. So yeah, we're going to be going there, taking the PS3 controller that we found last week. So there's like £45 value in those two things alone. So yeah man, let's go see what else we can find. That's good advice. So, another charity shop closed. That's the third one I've come across in the last couple of months that's closed. One I was able to ask why, and they said about increased business rates. Yeah, sound at the time, so I've got more and more closing, which not good. Okay, so that was the first little find, nothing special. I got Tokka Touring Car Championship and Tokka World Tour. Both games I don't think I've got in my PlayStation 1 collection, and they're 50p each, so they're complete. One's got a scratch, the boxes are a bit beat up, but 50p each, you know what I mean? What are you going to do, right? So yeah, like most collectors and most hunters, you always have that slight thought of, was there anything else before? Was this all the PS1 games, or was there something better before I got there? But hey, take the positives, right? We're going to head to CEX now. Previously had some good finds, but looks like a tidy it up. Nowhere near as much stuff in here as there used to be. But I'll have a look, see what I can find. £1.50. Crazy. Retro Ghetto. As you can see, I'm back in the 3.0, and I thought I was going to be coming away with my CEX vouchers, these couple of PlayStation 1 games, 50p each, and I thought that was going to be it. Somewhat of a disappointing hunt, until on my way home, one of the locals came through. So, one of the charity shops that I frequent regularly, easy for me to say, I used to be allowed backroom privileges, and then things started to change. I noticed that the managers were sort of saying, you know, we're not allowed to do it anymore. Health and safety, head office have said, and you know, blah, 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 which is fine. The rules are the rules. I accept it. I still go in most days. They still try and keep things to the side for me, but it doesn't feel like I'm getting as much as I used to get, which obviously people have got a job to do. They're not going to start digging through every bag every time I walk in, right? I don't expect them to. But today was my lucky day. I went in there and it was just my favourite ladies, all right? The older ladies that work there, and they were like, no one's here, go and have a look. So I took advantage, as you've seen on the footage. I went digging through the back, and yeah, we found some nice stuff, which definitely made the hunt successful. Let's take a look at what we got. First thing, not overly exciting, is a fan. This was £4, you know what? It's brilliant. I wanted a small fan, a white one for the games room, and crucially one that's not too loud. I plugged this in while I was there. It barely makes any noise, and this will be perfect for me to just have sat here, you know, during the sort of summer evenings when a fan's required. We do have fans in the house, but you know what it's like, going backwards and forwards, people debating who has what fan. Got my own fan in the room, locked in, £4. So that was the first thing that we found. Then we had a nice couple of VHS finds. When I saw this, I thought I have to buy this. Pulp Fiction is my favourite movie of all time. I often say that, you know, I don't collect VHS, which I don't primarily. I don't hunt for it. But if I see my favourite movie of all time sitting there, then you're damn right I'm going to pick it up. So yeah, I had to pick up Pulp Fiction. And sitting alongside that was the Shaolin Temple. So an old school Jet Li movie. Don't know much about this, but I do like the martial arts films, and I've got a couple of friends that love martial arts movies, so I'll probably pass this one on. But they didn't charge me at all for these. The woman said to me, we normally throw VHS away, so she wouldn't accept any money for them. So yeah, not going to complain about that. And then, before we get to the games, an old faithful. A lot of my old faithfuls in charity shops, the things I find regularly, are starting to come down in price recently. Not this. I think there's still £6 trading on this. I find this so often. I must have found this 3 or 4 times since I've been doing these vlogs. The good old Lord of the Rings motion picture trilogy box set. As I say, I think there's still £6 trading on this. I think she charged me a couple of quid. Basically, everything that you're going to see, she charged me like £8 for. I don't know what the breakdown of that was, but yeah, decent. So that's £6 trading to kick things off. And then we get to the games. I wouldn't normally pick up a game that trades in for £3 when they charge me £2 per game. But I know that the Call of Duty Modern Warfare games are going up in value in terms of what CX are selling them for at least. So let me just see if I actually have Modern Warfare 3. Oh yeah, I've already got it. So I'll be trading that one in. That trades in for £3. I never know what they're going to charge me in there, so it's always worth picking it up, because one day they might charge me £1.50, but today they were £2 each. But again, it's £1. I'm not going to argue. And then another classic, Wii Sports Resort. Not quite as much value as Wii Sports, I don't think, but this is nice clean disc. Not going to go wrong. I think that might be £6 as well. I'll put the values on screen. And the pick of the bunch, good old Mario Kart on the Wii, still pulling in £9 trading. So I think all in, there's what, £24 or something? Not had time to do the maths properly, but after having a quick look, something like that. £8 spent, added a couple of VHS to the collection. Yeah, nice little charity shop find. It's definitely getting harder out there in terms of charity shops. There's more and more people putting things on eBay. There's more and more people stopping my backroom entry. That sounds wrong, right? Yeah, decent find. Not all. I've got to go into Derby City Centre very soon, so we'll be heading there. We're going to do some hunting there, as well as a couple of specialised retro video game shops. So we're kicking this vlog off with a hunt, and we're by no means done with the hunting. So hopefully we're going to find some more good stuff in Derby. Retro Ghetto. Because we've made such an early start to the vlog this week, I can share with you guys some of the behind the scenes. Wednesday's video was, of course, my Mega Drive collection. So I decided to do a Mega Drive wall. And you know what? It looks really good, doesn't it? It's a shame I don't have the room to do like a SNES wall, and then on this side, like a Mega Drive wall. Or could it be possible? That's food for thought, isn't it? What if all this became a Mega Drive wall? Wow, that's got me thinking. Yeah, I really like how this looks. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, because it's been an absolute nightmare. It will be to put all this back in alphabetical order. But one of the other things that spurred me on to do this was I haven't done the trunking hack with all of the Mega Drive shelves. So this is going to be the impetus now to do the trunking on the shelving. As you can see, it's going to be sitting below the PlayStation 1 games. Get all these put back in alphabetical order. And yeah, who knows, might even find the time to play one or two. Wishful thinking, right? Right, so that's all the Mega Drive games taken off. At this stage, I now need to film them all individually. So just to give you guys an insight on what I've done. I sat in front of the camera, I filmed the intro, followed by the outro, and then it's getting late anyway, so what I'm probably going to do is start editing the intro and outro now, and then tomorrow, with hopefully the finished intro and outro, I'm going to set all these up at my Super Nintendo get table, and I'll go through them all individually, and then I'll insert that clip into the middle. So that's my plan of action in terms of that video. But yeah, they've all been taken off, but honestly guys, I'm really thinking what it would be like to have a Mega Drive wall, right? I'm a 16-bit guy. That's like the love, that's the passion, that's my childhood, that's the nostalgia, right? Which is what most of us do this for. I could have Super Nintendo, Sega Mega Drive. It's definitely something for another day. I'm the busiest I think I've ever been this week. But I'm not gonna lie, it's something I'm gonna give genuinely thought to. I'm gonna get the tape measure out at some point in the next few days or weeks. I'm gonna measure up how many games I could potentially fit in, how it would work in terms of having a shelf underneath to have the spines on show, because obviously I'm not gonna be able to show the artwork for all of them. And what I'd have to sacrifice in order to do that. What would be the detriment of it, right? But I'm not even gonna say let me know in the comments, because I already know you're gonna be for it, right? But yeah, watch this space. Right, so this is the chaos of the room after filming each game for that middle section of the video. So as you can see, I've had to move my table, unplug, get a different extension cord in. Most of the games are here, some are there, some are over there. Obviously, I've got to put all this back. The question block is what I had the microphone resting on. Now what I've got to do is move all the games into another pile so that I can photograph them, which I can then edit for the thumbnail of the video. This is the work that goes into YouTube videos that people don't think about, and I wouldn't expect people to think about. I wouldn't think about it before I started making them. I think people just think you film it, you edit it. This is why it's that constant struggle of keeping this room clean every week, because I have to sort of trash it most weeks to film overlay shots and shots of games, and then put it all back together and then start the vlog. So yeah, it's all fun and games. I do it because I love it, but it's time to do the thumbnail. Right, so this was the Mega Drive setup that I went with to take the pictures for the thumbnail. And if you're wondering why I've got the lid to my storage and the back of a standee here, I've learned the hard way previously. When you're photographing something, you want a plain background, because when it comes to cutting this out for the thumbnail, when you use like a tool that will cut this out, unless you've got quite a solid background, it becomes very difficult. So if you're trying to cut and you've got sort of more games in the background, the tool will find it hard to differentiate between what you want and what's currently there. I've learned that the hard way before. So yeah, it's like Magic Secrets Finally Revealed. Remember that show? Well, this is YouTube Secrets Revealed. This is the sort of stuff that goes into making content. Okay, so it's been a long time since I was last in Derby City Centre, the area which I grew up in. To be honest, the short amount of time I've been here, I won't be in a rush to come back, but there's a CX right in front of me. We've got those games and the DVDs that we found earlier in the week at the charity shops. Also, there's a couple of retro video game shops, so obviously we need to go and take a look, right? So let's go. Okay, so I've got the vouchers that I needed from CEX. I've been quite critical of the Derby CEX in the past, but you know what? I've got to give them credit today. They're quite a lot of retro in. If you've got 450 quid laying around, nice copy of Castlevania. And the woman was very helpful. She couldn't do enough for me. If anything, I was trying to get away once I got her talking about retro. She had a lot to say. She was obviously enthusiastic about retro video games and collecting, which is great to see. So she showed me all the drawers, showed me everything they own in terms of retro, but nothing that I needed, but yeah, nice to see some decent retro in stock. We're now going to be heading to the next place. It says the retro video game shop just ahead of us, and that's next to the cash converters as well, so we'll check there first, and then we will fly into Mobile Games Exchange, which is famously very expensive. They do have some nice bits in here, so I'll take a look. Yes, I tried to buy that standee. No, they're not ready to sell it yet. You know what? I had a really positive experience in there. I bought a Mega Drive game and a Super Nintendo game, so it's always a good day when you can add either one of the 16-bit systems to your collection. And historically, that shop was very expensive. It's got a reputation for being expensive. When I lived closer to here, I always found it very expensive to the point where I didn't even go in. I just thought there was no point. But last couple of times I've been in, I've sort of had that changed. And when I go back and I show you what I picked up, I got a very good price on both of those games, and yeah, I wouldn't say the majority of it's cheap. A lot of it's where it should be, and there's some that are probably below. So yeah, they've definitely had a restructure in terms of pricing. Some fantastic stock. There's not many shops in the country I've been to that have got a better stock than that in terms of like retro. So yeah, positive experience. Now we're heading to Retro World. I actually did a tour here when it first opened, so it'd be interesting to go back again now and see what's changed. If I don't get run over. Let there be light. Here we go. That was perfect timing as well. Yeah, computer and video games takes me back. Man, I remember reading these as a kid. Pestering my grandma for a copy of it. It's just the artwork, so good in it, seeing all this over. Yeah, Bears and Repairs Corner, it's a great idea.
Yeah, very, very popular.
I've never seen it. Cringe-tronic. Oh. So is it like a Pong clone sort of thing? Yeah.
I've actually never seen this nice.
It is clean. Even the poly's in.
I know.
Yeah. Nice. I love the box though. Well, I've got to say, my old hometown of Derby was pretty kind to me. It ain't what it used to be. I don't think many city centres are, right? I had run-ins with teenage girls and I was dodging spice heads and charity beggars along the way. But in terms of what I was able to find video game-wise, it was a nice trip, I've got to say. A few preconceptions that I had were proved wrong, which we'll get to in a minute. But I started at CEX, as you guys have seen. There was loads of retro there. I managed to trade in all those bits that we found earlier in the charity shops. So I've got myself a voucher. I've already got plans for it. I need to start saving vouchers again, right? I used to always have large amounts of vouchers, but now I seem to be always like having so many things in my mind that I want that as soon as I get them, I spend them immediately. But yeah, I didn't pick anything up from CEX. There was some nice bits of retro. There was a Mega Drive game that the young lady that worked there was trying to get me to buy. Is it Mencap? Something like that. Decap maybe. She was saying it was like one of her favourites, but it didn't have a manual. So whilst I probably could have been tempted to spend the £20 on it, I left without picking that one up. And then from there I went to Cash Generators, which was dead. And then from Cash Generators I went to, what's it called? Mobile Exchange? It's not something that you would... I think they need a name change because the vast majority of things in that shop are video game related. I think it should have more of a video game theme or name. I think it would probably serve them better. Like if you weren't from there, you probably would just dismiss it as maybe like a pawn shop. You wouldn't necessarily think it'd be stacked full of high-end retro items, which it is. There's some really nice pieces in there. And that's where my first misconception was. I always perceived that place to be very expensive. I never used to go in there that often when I lived in Derby or closer to the city centre because, yeah, it was just very much on the expensive side, and why would I go in somewhere and pay more than I can pay on eBay? But I was pleased that that was wrong. I was completely wrong. I picked up some absolute bargains today, which we're going to get into now. But yeah, I'll definitely be going back there. There were some real nice, heavy hitting items in that shop. Very well presented, the shop, and the staff were great as well. And again, that's something that I can't always admit to over the years. I've had a mixed bag with some of the staff in that shop over the years. I've not always found them to be very forthcoming or very customer service orientated, shall we say. But the last 2 times I've been, the chap in there that seems to be the manager was fantastic. The guy that he was with today was also great. So yeah, definitely has a different feel about the shop now, and it's definitely a shop that I will frequent every time I go into Derby, given my recent experiences. So if you're in the area, definitely check it out. The first game that I picked up was a Blue Spine Mega Drive game. Always a great day when you pick up a Blue Spine Mega Drive game, right? And that is Disney's Pinocchio. So this was quite a late release. It came out on both the Super Nintendo and the Mega Drive late on in 1996. It's a platform puzzle adventure game. It was actually developed by Virgin Interactive, and of course it's based on Walt Disney's animated movie. As you'll be seeing on screen now, they've poured a lot into the visuals on this one. The character animations are some of the best that you'll see on the 16-bit generation, full stop. Very, very nice. As I say, it's clearly had a lot of love poured into it in terms of the backgrounds, the animations, and yeah, it's just a very visually appealing game, which you would probably expect from something so late on in the life cycle of those systems, because by this point developers had really got to grips with getting the most out of those machines. I think by this point the next generation of consoles was actually out and producing games, so I think Pinocchio went under the radar a lot more than some of the other Disney releases on the 16-bit system, such as Aladdin and Lion King. From the reviews I've read, whilst it's visually stunning, it's very much an average platformer. I think it's okay, it's a fun time, but it's nothing special, it's nothing groundbreaking. For the most part, it's just a left to right side-scrolling platformer, but there are also minecart levels, and I think there's some like bonus mini games thrown in as well. There's a couple of reasons this one caught my eye. Once upon a time, I nearly got this on the Super Nintendo, and it slipped through my fingers. I always felt like there was unfinished business with it. I will, of course, have to pick it up on that system at some point. But CEX sell this for £22. They had it listed complete at 18, so I thought, okay, well, that's cheap. I actually managed to get it down to 15, so I did really well. The manual's not in fantastic condition, as you can see, but everything else is fine. So yeah, once he agreed to £15, I was all over this. Yeah, really happy to add that to my collection. And, as I said, I think on the video, I bought a Mega Drive game and a Super Nintendo game. This is one of them games that I've seen in CEX in stock for quite some time, and I've always been tempted to pull the trigger, but it's on a more expensive side for a game like this. And this is another one of them perceptions that I had completely wrong. I always thought this was based on a children's TV show. That's how it looks to me. The name of the game, the box art, everything about this, I thought it was a children's TV show that had somehow passed me by all these years, and it kind of made me somewhat reluctant to pick it up, and that is Toddlers. It turns out I was completely wrong. Toddlers is actually a Lemmings-inspired puzzle game. As far as I'm aware, there's no backstory to Toddlers. This was originally released on the Amiga, and then in 1993 it was given a Super Nintendo release. And from the reviews I've seen, this is actually quite a highly regarded puzzle platformer on the system. Plays a little bit differently to Lemmings in as much as you do control one of the characters on screen as opposed to like a cursor that you'd move around. And then that one individual character will sort of move blocks, etc., that will help you get all your toddlers to the exit of the level. There's 99 levels here, which obviously increase in difficulty as you play through it. And yeah, again, one of the key reasons why I picked this one up was the pricing point. CEX is selling this for £45, and that's what's always made me reluctant to pull the trigger on it. Today this was listed at 25, so straight away I was like, well, that's cheap. And I checked eBay, and they were selling for more than that on eBay. And I actually managed to get it for 20. So yeah, I mean, there's a few stickers on it. But to be honest, I think what we'll probably do is do a bit of a box tidy up, right? We're going to look at this, and we're going to look at the Tetris Attack box, which is crushed, because they both need work for different reasons. This one's covered in stickers. That one's very much crushed, so it'll be different techniques used to get these boxes back to their best, and I'll probably do it both at the same time and share with you guys some tips and tricks that I use. Done it plenty of times on these vlogs, but people always want to see more of it, so I'm happy to film the process of me doing that, because obviously I need to do it anyway before I add them to the Super Nintendo shelf. So as I say, I was definitely wrong about the price. They were happy to work with me on the pricing, and to pick up both of these games for £35, that's absolute steal, I think. So yeah, really happy with that, really happy with my experience there, and definitely recommend popping in if you're in the Derby area. And from there I had to, of course, visit Retro World. So in this very small corner of Derby City Centre, you've got CEX, that mobile exchange shop, whatever it's called, I always forget what it's called, a Cash Generators and Retro World, all literally within, like, I don't know, like 100 metres or so of each other. So you can literally park in and around the Matalan area, jump out, do all of them four, jump back in your car and go. And that's pretty much what I did, give or take a couple of things that I had to do in Derby. So yeah, I visited Retro World. I haven't been to Retro World since it first opened. I went literally, I think it was on opening day. I wanted to record it for the channel. I made a video about it, and I always have a great time with the husband and wife partnership that run it. And it's always great to see things like that. It's always great to see family, privately owned businesses. I always have a nice chat with those guys, and it's nice to see the evolution of the shop. Obviously, once the shop's been open for a certain amount of time, things change, the layout changes. They learn more about what's selling, what's not selling, what's hot, what's not. They've introduced a section for Pokemon cards. They've introduced a section for spares and repairs. They're selling a lot of magazines. Some of those magazines was like nostalgia overload, right? They're also going to start selling vinyl records. There's lots of great stuff in that shop. They've also, I think, given a bit less space to arcade as what they first had when they moved in, but obviously they've now got more stock to sell, so it's a constant rearranging of stuff, similar to having a games room like this. Lots of nice stuff in there, but it was nice to find a video game that I was actively searching for. So the other two games that I picked them up because I'm a collector of video games. They were a good price and I was intrigued by them. This is a game that I've been actively wanting. It's been on my radar for quite some time, ever since I saw Gibbo over at Gib84 Gaming praise this game. I thought it looked like something I'd be interested in. And since then I slept on it and it's gone up in value. CX are now selling this for £15, I believe. And that is Magin and the Forsaken Kingdom. So this is a 2010 action-adventure game developed by Game Republic. So in this game you take on the role as a young thief who sets out to free the mythical Magin and ultimately restore the land to its former beauty. So the storyline is somewhat generic, we've been through that kind of stuff before, but every review I've ever watched of this game, including Gibbo84's, is that it's very nice. It's beautiful music, it's very all-encompassing, I think, and it's just one of the games that I can't wait to play. Glad to have seen it in the shop. They had £15 on it as well, same as CEX, but they did do me a deal. I got it for 12, so really happy with that. The good people at Retro World even gave me this nice pin badge. I'm not going to sit here and be the tourist board for Derby. I'm not going to say rush out, go and visit Derby City Centre, because there's plenty of better city centres to visit, if I'm being honest. It's somewhat deteriorated in recent years, like a lot of city centres, as I say. However, if you are in and around the area, it's definitely worth visiting that little section, because like I say, to have what? 2 specialist retro video game stores, a cash generators and a CEX all within such a short space of each other, definitely worth popping in, and it proved to be very fruitful for me. I'm really happy with these 3 video games that I managed to pick up today, so yeah man, let's keep it rolling. Okay, so I've made it to the boss of what I think is the penultimate world on Cars 8 and the Wild Masks. Really having a lot of fun with this game, highly recommend it. Like I say, short, sharp levels, you can pick up and play. As soon as you die, you're right back into the action. It sort of saves halfway through each level, and it doesn't outstay its welcome. So I think there's one more world once I get this boss fight done, but it's definitely becoming more of a challenge, which is what you want as the game goes on. It has become somewhat difficult, but I haven't got time to finish that right now, because with all the game hunting we've done and the Mega Drive video, this room is a disaster. So it's time to get everything put back, get it nice and cleaned up, because we've got to think about what we're going to do with these Sega games going forwards. Are we putting them back, or are we creating a Sega wall? Let's get tidied up. Okay, so that's the room looking a bit better, back to normal, except for, of course, the Mega Drive games. Now, I don't have time to do anything new and elaborate on this vlog, but it hasn't stopped me from thinking about creating the Sega wall. So I decided to measure it. We've got 370 centimeters, I think it was, across there that we could play with. I checked that out on the Mega Drive, on the SNES wall, sorry, and that takes us from there to halfway along Super Mario World. So I'm going to see how many of these Mega Drive games I can fit in on one of them rows. Then I'm going to calculate how many rows down we could do, and then I'll know exactly how many Mega Drive games I could get on here, should I decide to do it. Right, so I'd be able to get 25 of the Mega Drive games on this wall if I use the same sort of dimensions as the units I've got now. The only thing is I won't get many rows. I'd only get 2 rows, so I'd only get 50 games on display. Wouldn't really be worth it. I could get an extra row in and do 75, but it would mean sort of moving standees, and then you have to start asking yourself how many sacrifices I'm prepared to make. I do think it's something we're going to look into going forwards. It's definitely something that I'm erring on the side of doing right now, but it's going to require a lot of thought. And like I said, I don't want to make too many concessions. Like, I don't want to get rid of like things like this. Like, I love this standee. Maybe there's a way I could lower it a little bit. And obviously I'm not moving the television, but that could still come out a little bit, so there could potentially be Another row there. But yeah, definitely food for thought. I'd love to know what you guys think about that in the comments. But for now, let's get all these Sega Mega Drive games put away. These Mega Drive games have been everywhere in this games room over the week, except for where they belong. Like I say, I've not done the trunking hack. So we're going to get the PlayStation 1 games off, do the trunking hack, get all the Mega Drive games put back into alphabetical order, and then once we've got some order restored in here, we're going to look at the new additions and get cleaning and fixing some of these boxes. Okay, so I'm just cutting the second piece, and I've somehow realised I didn't buy the self-adhesive one. I'm sure I was charged for 2 self-adhesive ones, but anyway, luckily I've still got some of the Velcro that we used when we did all the work on the media unit. So I'm just going to cut some of that, and that'll do the job. Okay, that's all of the trunking put in. Time to get the games on. The blue spine shelf was already done anyway. We're going to start there. And then we're going to get all the rest of them put in. Actually, I need to do the trunking up here as well. Okay, so once I've done that, we're ready to get the games in. Okay, so that's the EA games and the blue spine games put away. Now I've got these 3 shelves for the standard black spine games. Still need to do my trunk hack. Just a quick tip, if anyone else is alphabetizing games, don't try and alphabetize them all in one go. It's almost impossible. It's not impossible, but it takes a long time. Best thing to do is just throw them in a random letter order. So I've got numbers and then A across, and then as you're doing each letter, then sort them out individually. Because if you try and sort them out individually at this stage, you fast run out of space. So whilst it's probably common sense, I learned the hard way trying to do it the other way when I was putting the whole room into alphabetical order. So yeah, that's definitely the best way to do it. Oh, that's so satisfying. Right, get the PlayStation games on. Okay, and with the placement of Ice Cube, that's those shelves back, better than ever. I hope you guys enjoyed Wednesday's video, because the amount of hours I've spent moving Mega Drive games around in the last few days is, yeah, somewhat frightening. But as I say, it's better than ever. Quick tidy up now. And then let's tackle this pile. Whilst I was tidying up, I managed to make another successful change. So I wanted to clear this space here. So what I was able to do was push the God of War Ascension PS3 box back. And then I was able to change the layout of my Lego set, because it's modular, so it splits into 3 pieces. So I've just put this lengthways, that sits in there. I can still open the drawer. So yeah, pretty happy with that. Happy to have finally found a home for the Lego set. And as I say, it just creates a bit more clean space over here, which is what we want. Guys, such a great feeling to have a nice clean games room, especially when my room has just been a plethora of Mega Drive games for the best part of a week now. So nice to have everything sorted out again. Maybe I'll even find time to play some games later on this evening, but for now let's tackle these games. Not this however is part of Wednesday's video. I'm picking up some games that I've got a lot to say about. There's going to be a nice pile, hopefully by the end of the week, that I'm going to be able to film for Wednesday. So keep it locked to the Retro Ghetto, because people don't like the term hidden gems, but I think there's some real hidden gems I'm going to be sharing with you guys on Wednesday. So yeah, don't miss that. But I think we're going to start with Tetris Attack. So this is very much beat up. This was a bit of a blind buy on eBay. The seller had one picture and it was like from the front, so I couldn't see all this real damage. It was very cheap, and with the manual it was worth the what, £13-14 post that I paid, but it's definitely seen better days, right? So I've got the travel ironing board, I've got the travel iron, and I'm going to talk you through, guys, once again through the exact process I'm going to use to try and get this box looking a bit better. Okay, so what I'm going to use is just an old t-shirt, and then the next step is to get the box and lay it as flat as possible. This one's had some water damage. It's very stiff in certain areas, but as I say, it's just about getting it as flat as you can, so that when you do come to iron it, you're basically flattening it out and making it nice and straight. Once you've got it flat, I would then insert it into the t-shirt, not to the bottom of the ironing board, but just put it in between the layer. So stick it there, put this back over. And then ordinarily what you would do is probably slightly use the spray function. This is just like the secondary iron. the main iron in the house is like attached to the wall. It's long. I'm not bringing that over here. So what I tend to do, Ghetto by name, Ghetto by nature, is just get a bit of water on my fingers, flick it directly onto the t-shirt with the game underneath. Not too much, but enough so that, you know, it'll make a difference. I'll show you guys as I'm doing it. And then iron it on a sort of moderate heat, and then just keep checking it every 10-15 seconds or so to make sure nothing bad's happening. Although, fingers crossed, I've never had any issues thus far. Okay, so the game is flat in between the layers of the t-shirt. I'm now going to flick just a bit of water on. I say you don't want to put too much on, and you want to try and keep it as fine as you can. Like I say, a working iron would probably be better, but I'd say that would be about fine. And then what you want to do is just make sure you're not going over the same area too much. So keep the iron moving. I wouldn't sort of hold it in one spot so that any sort of heat can build up anywhere, and just keep moving it around and make sure you get sort of over all the edges and nooks and crannies. I'll do this, as I say, for about 20-30 seconds with the first time, and then we'll take a look. Okay, and you can already see it's a lot flatter than it was. Obviously it's not going to get rid of all the creases, it's not going to work miracles, but it's about restoring the rigidity. I always start on the back, just as I say, just in case. I'd rather damage the back than the front. This is probably as flat as it's going to be. So now what I'll do, repeat the process again, put some more water on, we'll slightly iron the front, which isn't too bad, so I'm not going to pay too much attention to it. And then we'll rebuild the box and take a look. Okay, that is that. It's quite warm to touch, but as I say, you can see what the iron's done, how rigid it's made the box. And especially because it had water damage before, it was already sort of harder than your average cardboard would be. But I'm going to get this built now, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like. And there it is, all built. As I say, it was never going to work miracles. It's never going to get out the creases, and obviously some of those creases, if the camera will focus, some of those creases are damaged to the ink at this point, but it's so much more stiff now, it's so much more rigid, and it just gives it a much better box shape. And even all these creases look a lot better when they're flat, right, as opposed to all bulging out. I'll probably be putting like a before and after on screen now. So yeah, I think that's as good as you can hope to get with a box that was this badly damaged. This doesn't have an inner tray in it yet either, so once that's in, that'll give it even more sort of strength and rigidity. But yeah, happy with that. I need to order myself a cartridge, so I'll probably get a car only from CX at some point, but I think for £13-14 plus whatever I pay for the cartridge, I think that's going to be a good buy, because as I say, it's complete with the manual, and this is like £40-45 game now. So yeah, happy with that. And to take it one step further, throw it in the miracle worker that is a box protector, and I think that'll look absolutely fine on the Super Nintendo wall, should it make it there once I get the cart. Okay, next on, we have got Troddlers. Now this is going to be a real test, and this is why I wanted to do this. This box isn't too bad at all, to be honest, but it's the amount of stickers, and it looks like someone's already had a go. There's 3 stickers, all obviously with different adhesives, different sizes, so yeah, probably have to use a few different techniques on this one. I'm probably going to go and get the hairdryer. I'll swap the iron and the iron board for the hairdryer, and I'm probably going to try and heat this big bargain one here, because hopefully, I can't, oh, it looks, oh, here we go. Someone's already had a go at it, but that looks like residue as opposed to damage. So I'm going to heat the glue, and then I'm going to see if I can pull it off. Top tip I've only just started implementing myself is to take the contents out of the box and allow it to flatten. That way when you start working a certain area, or when you start trying to pick the sticker off, it's not going to sort of indent with all the pressure you put in on it. So yeah, that's just another quick top tip. So obviously it's quite difficult to film and use both hands to take the sticker off, but I mean, look how beautiful that is. That original Nintendo Seal of Quality logo hasn't seen the light of day for many, many years, probably decades. This bit's coming off really nicely. Concentrate on the area that's going well, so you don't give yourself more work to do. We'll come and look at a different technique to get this sort of excess off after. This sales sticker here was really difficult to get going. I just kept persevering and just trying to lift up as much of the circumference as I can. And now it's motoring. Fingers crossed. I'm just doing it very slowly, just going circular motion because it's a circular sticker. I'm not getting ahead of myself. And I heated this up with the hairdryer as well. Look at that! Not a mark underneath it. This is going very well so far. I'm confident I'll get all this excess off as well. There's not one mark under that. So now we're on to the last sticker. I'll try the hairdryer method again. If that doesn't work, we'll try something else. Don't get much better than that. One tear, how satisfying is that? And that's just heating up the adhesive on the other side of the sticker with the hairdryer. Just this last bit to get off. I'm going to try once more with the hairdryer and try and pull it off. If not, we'll look to use my old trick of a bit of Mr. Sheen, let it settle, and then we'll just slightly scratch it off. So as you can see, I've managed to get quite a bit more off just from using my thumb, the nail, and just scratching it off. But what you don't want to do is do too much with your thumb without there being any sort of liquid on the box, because you can sort of scratch the artwork, and in certain light you'll see where you've been scratching. So what I'm going to do now is get the old faithful, the Mr. Sheen. I'll lightly spray it on. I'll leave it to dry for, I don't know, maybe 20-30 seconds or so, and then I'll just lightly rub it off again with my thumbnail, and that should be it. I'll just sort of rub it lightly with my finger on the area it needs it, and then just leave it for half a minute or so. Yeah, after you've lightly scratched it off, you just want to do a quick wipe with a microfiber cloth, try and get any last bits of adhesive off, and that should be that. And there we go, super happy with that. If you think what this looked like before, and I paid what, £20 for this because of the stickers that were on it. What is this? I think it said it was a £45 game at CEX, right? Really happy with how this one's turned out. All stickers came off pretty easy. Just had to use Mr. Sheen for the last little remnants of the glue that was on there. I mean, if I want to take this further, I could even iron this. You know, there's a slight bowing in it. So I could iron this. I could then put it in a box protector. But yeah, I think if this was a CX lottery, I don't think many people would be unhappy with that. And to get this for £20, the manual's in nice condition, the cart's in nice condition. Just shows you what you can do if you just put a little bit of care into your game boxes, right? So all in all, I'll take that. Let me know in the comment section what you guys use. If you have any hints or tips or anything that you do differently to how I do things that you've had success with, let us all know in the comments, right? Let's all share our information together, and hopefully we can all learn something and we can all make our game boxes look better going forwards. And guys, I think that's going to do it for this week's Ghetto vlogs. I am now going to go and try and finish Cars 8 and the Wild Masks, which I think will be, what, my 11th game completed of the year? I need to step my game up, right? I need to get some more gaming done. But what a great week it's been. Great hunting, adding nice additions to the shelves, and ultimately that's what it's all about, right? Enjoying the hunt and adding some nice pieces to the collection, and we've definitely managed to achieve that this week. As I say, I've got a really interesting video dropping on Wednesday. Quite a few games that I've been researching heavily that I'm really excited to share with you guys. I think you might want to add them to your collection as well, because it's some of them games that have just flown under the radar that somehow I've managed to miss. I'm sure some of you have missed them as well. So yeah, keep it locked to the Retro Ghetto for that one. If you're not already subscribed, please consider doing so. And if you want to go the extra step further to support myself and the channel to keep us doing bigger and better things here at the Retro Ghetto, consider joining the Ghetto gang. The information is in the description below. I've got some more exclusive content coming very soon on that platform as well. As always, massive thank you. Enjoy your Sunday. I'm going to see you all real soon. Take care.
Retro Ghetto.
Lock into the Retro Ghetto.